Life is inseparable from struggle. You can plan meticulously, train rigorously, and stay laser-focused, yet still find yourself blindsided. Careers vanish overnight. Trusted individuals walk away. Carefully constructed futures collapse without warning. Suddenly, what seems certain feels impossible. But within that brutal moment lies a choice. Will this define you or refine you? This distinction separates those who remain stuck from those who rise. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't wish for hardship to disappear, they prepared for it. Their training wasn't just about enduring falls, but growing through them. If resilience, clarity, and personal power are what you seek, you're on the right path. The question is, how do you transform setbacks into strength? When everything crumbles, most people don't reach for courage. They reach not the kind that heals, but the kind that numbs. We distract ourselves with meaningless conflicts or bury our minds in trivialities, freezing our souls in place. It's easier to pretend we're fine than to admit we're not. Easier to blame others than to hold up a mirror, but avoidance doesn't save you, it traps you. The longer you run from the package, the longer you remain stuck in it. The Stoics called this false apatheia, a clarity that comes not from ignoring pain, but from understanding it. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. That reaction begins with truth, not the sanitized version you tell others, not the softened story you whisper to yourself, the raw, unfiltered reality. So stop hiding in the noise. Sit down, get quiet. Not everything needs to be fixed today, but it must be seen. What actually happened, not how it felt, but what occurred. Did you silence your intuition when it warned you? Did you tolerate what you should have walked away from? Did you hope something would fix itself when you knew it wouldn't? The answers may sting, but that sting is your starting line. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Every setback you ignore, every truth you bury, becomes a shadow that follows you. You'll call it bad luck, blame others. But it was just a truth you never owned. This isn't about shame, it's about control. Choosing not to let the same patterns dictate your future. Socrates believed the unexamined life is not worth living. That wasn't philosophy, it was practicality. If you don't dissect what went wrong, you're doomed to repeat it. No filters, no edits. This is what I did. This is what I missed. This is what I allowed. This is what I avoided. Not to dwell in the past, but to finally leave it. When your pen hits the page, something shifts. The fog lifts. Emotions lose their grip. Suddenly, you're not just someone who got knocked down. You're someone learning to stand up stronger. Plato said, truth is the beginning of every good thing. Let this be your beginning. You don't need all the answers today, but you must stop pretending. Clarity isn't handed to you. It's carved one honest word at a time. Stop letting failure define you. There's a quiet trap most fall into after setbacks. It whispers, this is who you are now. One mistake, one failure, and suddenly your entire identity wraps around it. I failed becomes I am a failure. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. The same applies to failure. If you keep seeing yourself as the mistake, you'll keep showing up like it's all you have to offer. But the Stoics knew better. Who you are is not what happened to you. It's what you choose to do with it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You didn't lose your worth because someone walked away. You didn't become broken because things didn't go your way. You hit a wall. But that doesn't mean you stop walking. Your value doesn't live in results. It lives in your response. When life knocks the wind out of you, purpose can feel distant. The fire that once moved you dims. Disappointment and fear whisper, maybe it's not worth it anymore. But motivation doesn't come first, action does. Your why keeps the wheels turning when motivation falters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Perspective fuels purpose. Lose one and the other slips too, so strip away the chaos. What made you start? Was it your family? The future you dreamed of? The voice inside that whispered, you were made for more? Carl Jung said the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. It's not inspiration, it's a reminder. There's something inside you refusing to settle. If the people you love could see you now, what would they need to witness? Someone who gave up or someone who stood back up, even if they had to crawl first? Your why doesn't need to be perfect, just powerful enough to outweigh fear. Change the way you speak about it. Words shape reality. Call yourself broken and your behavior follows. Say you're stuck and your energy sinks. Epictetus taught, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The language we use creates emotional loops. If your vocabulary is defeat, your mindset becomes retreat. But if your words center on rebuilding, progress, clarity, even in chaos, you create a path forward. Seneca wrote, most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. Every time you speak about your life, you're feeding something. Fear or strength. Shift your language. Replace I'm lost with I'm searching. Replace I failed with I learn. Socrates said, the greatest way to live with honor is to speak. Be what we pretend to be. Speak like the person you're becoming. Win small, win daily. After a fall, we crave grand comebacks. But real change happens in small steps. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Movement, not motivation, creates momentum. Clean one drawer. Send one message you've avoided. Take a 10-minute walk. Nietzsche said, he who has a why can bear almost any how. Strength comes from stacking small acts of integrity. Plato believed the beginning is the most important part of the work, yet most wait for readiness, but it's built through action. Ask yourself, what's one small win I can claim today? Guard your energy like a fortress. Healing is exhausting, not just from pain, but from the noise that follows. Opinions, questions, the pressure to perform as if nothing happened. But you can't rebuild if your energy leaks in every direction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you don't have to let everything in. Not every text needs a reply. Not every call deserves your time. Not every opinion warrants attention. Carl Jung said, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness. That light burns bright when you protect what fuels it. This isn't isolation, it's intention. Discipline over drama. Some days everything in you will whisper, not today. But discipline is the difference between those who rebuild and those who remain. It's shown up on the dull days. Nothing is changing days. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Mastery begins with discipline. You don't need perfection, just commitment. Use the pain, don't carry it. Pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. Seneca wrote, difficulty strengthens the mind as labor does the body. Ask, what is this pain teaching me? Did I stay too long in comfort? Did I ignore my intuition? Did I hope tension would resolve itself? Carl Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Choose who you're becoming. After a setback, there's pressure to return to normal. But why go back to the version of you that couldn't survive the storm? Marcus Aurelius wrote, what stands in the way becomes the way. Use the fire to forge someone wiser. Aristotle believed, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. You now know your tolerances, needs, and strength. Use that as leverage. Plato said, the measure of a man is what he does with power. The greatest power, deciding who you become after loss. Finish the story your way. A setback can trick you into thinking the story's over, but it's just a pause, not the ending. Marcus Aurelius wrote, look well into thyself, there is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look. Carl Jung said, I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. You hold the pen. Which you write next. Not the fall, but the rise. Aristotle called hope a waking dream. Real hope is commitment to keep going even when your hands shake. Socrates reminded us, to move the world, we must first move ourselves. Start with one quiet promise. I'm not letting that moment be the ending. Your story isn't over. Walk forward, not as who you were, but as who you're becoming. Wiser, stronger, unbroken. The power of small beginnings. Every great comeback starts with a single, unremarkable step. When you're in the pit, the idea of climbing out can feel overwhelming. So don't think about the summit. Think about the next foothold. The Stoics didn't wait for motivation to strike. They understood that action breeds momentum, not the other way around. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, resistance isn't a barrier, it's the path itself. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today, no matter how small, that moves me forward? What's one habit I can commit to, even when I don't feel like it? What's one truth I've been avoiding that, if faced, would change everything? Progress isn't about dramatic leaps. It's about consistency. The one who walks a single step every day will outlast the one who sprints and burns out. The art of letting go. Some weights aren't meant to be carried. Resentment, regret, the ghost of who you used to be. These aren't just burdens. They're anchors. The Stoics practiced amor fati. Love of fate, not passive acceptance, but a deliberate embrace of what is. So you can focus on what can be. You can't rewrite the past, but you can refuse to let it dictate your future. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? What story have I been telling myself that keeps me stuck? What would happen if I released it? Letting go isn't weakness. It's the ultimate act of strength. It's saying, this no longer defines me. The courage to begin again. There's a myth that strength means never falling. Real strength is in the getting up, not once, but as many times as it takes. Seneca wrote, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. And some days, simply showing up is the victory. But here's the secret. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. Clarity comes from movement, not waiting. Ask yourself, if I weren't afraid, what would I do today? What's the smallest version of that I can act on right now? Who would I be if I stopped asking for permission to move forward? The final truth. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not the opinions of others. You are the sum of your choices. And today, you get to make new ones, the Stoics. Ices believed in memento mori, remembering that life is fleeting, not to dwell on death, but to sharpen. One day, your struggles won't matter. The only thing that will is this: did you rise? So rise. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, now, because the world doesn't need another person who gave up. It needs you. Scars, lessons, and all. The story isn't over. Turn the page. The unseen battle. Every warrior knows the hardest fights happen in silence. No audience, no applause. Just you and the choice to keep going when no one's watching. This is where real transformation lives. Not in the dramatic moments, but in the quiet spaces between. The early mornings when discipline outweighs comfort. The late nights when persistence outlasts doubt. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. So ask yourself, who do I want to be when this storm passes? What would that version of me do today? How can I embody that person right now, even in small ways? The lies we believe, setbacks whisper false narratives. You're not good enough. This always happens to you. Maybe you should just quit. But here's the truth. Thoughts are not facts. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality, and we get to rewrite them. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. You have power of your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Interrupt the pattern. 1. Catch the negative thought. 2. Challenge it. Is this absolutely true? 3. Replace it. I'm learning. I'm growing. This is temporary. The strength of stillness. In our rush to fix everything, we often miss the power of pause. The Stoics weren't just men of action. They were masters of reflection. Before reacting, they asked, what can I control? What can't I control? Where should my energy go? Try this today. 1. Stop, breathe. 2. Observe your thoughts without judgment. 3. Choose your response. Don't let emotions choose for you. The antidote to overwhelm. When everything feels like too much. 1. Ground yourself in the present. What's one thing I can do right now? 2. Break big challenges into tiny, actionable steps. 3. Focus only on what's in front of you. Seneca's wisdom. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Your invitation, this isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath the fear, the failures, the false starts, the version of you that doesn't quit when it's hard, learns from every stumble, gets back up one more time than life knocks you down. The world needs that person. Not tomorrow, today. So take the step, make the call, write the first word. The miracle isn't that it's easy. The miracle is that you do it anyway. The next chapter starts now. What will you write in it? The alchemy of adversity. History's greatest alchemists weren't just turning lead into gold. They were transforming struggle into strength. Your darkest moments contain the raw materials for your greatest reinvention. The Stoics called this the understanding that everything is interconnected, even pain and growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle is the way." Not around it, not despite it, through it. Ask yourself, what hidden gift is this challenge offering me? How is this struggle preparing me for what's next? What muscle am I developing that I couldn't have grown any other way? The myth of ready, we wait for perfect conditions that never come. When I feel more confident, when the timing is better, when I have all the answers. Here's the truth Epictetus knew. No great thing is created suddenly. Skill is built in the doing. Confidence comes from action, not the other way around. Try this today. 1. Name one thing you've been putting off. 2. Identify the smallest possible version of it. 3. Do that imperfect version now. The courage of small steps. Heroism isn't just grand gestures. It's the daily decision to show up. When motivation has left, doubt is loud. Progress feels invisible. Seneca observed, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, but preparation looks like ordinary days of ordinary effort. Your toolkit for when willpower fades. The 2-minute rule, just start for 120 seconds. The one more principle, do just one more rep, one more page. The identity shift. I'm someone who follows through. The freedom of enough. We chase external validation like it's oxygen, forgetting the Stoic truth. You already contain everything you need. Practice these liberating mantras. I am enough as I am while growing into more. My worth isn't earned through achievement. I release what no longer serves my highest self. The final invitation. This isn't about fixing brokenness, it's about remembering your wholeness. The philosopher king within you already knows how to rise after falling, how to find light in darkness, how to turn wounds into wisdom. The question isn't can you, it's will you. Not someday, now, because the world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs you in all your imperfect, relentless, glorious becoming. The next page is blank, your pen is ready. What story will you tell with your life today? The unseen currents of transformation beneath the surface of your daily struggles runs an invisible river of change, one that carves canyons through solid rock over time. Your smallest actions today are shaping mountains you cannot yet see. The Stoics understood this geological patience. Seneca wrote, time discovers truth. Not in dramatic revelations, but in the quiet accumulation of choices. Ask yourself, what subtle shift could I make today that would compound over months? What tiny discipline, practice daily, would make me? Where am I rushing the process instead of trusting it? The paradox of control. We exhaust ourselves wrestling with what others think of us, circumstances we can't change, outcomes we can't guarantee. Epictetus offered the key. Some things are within our power, while others are not. The art of living lies and knowing the difference. Practice this discernment. 1, list what's truly in your control, your efforts, your attitude. 2, acknowledge what's not, others' opinions, past mistakes. 3, redirect energy only to the first category. The alchemy of attention. Your focus, the philosopher's stone. It transforms ordinary moments into gold. What you consistently attend to grows. Marcus Aurelius maintained this focus through morning meditations. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Try this refocusing exercise. When distracted, to ask, is this worthy of my limited attention? When overwhelmed, what's the one necessary thing right now? When doubting, where would my energy be best spent? The courage of imperfect action. Waiting for perfect conditions is the enemy of progress. The Stoics didn't demand ideal circumstances. They created meaning within whatever circumstances they faced. Your antidote to paralysis. 1. Identify the smallest viable step. 2. Set a timer for 5 minutes of action. 3. Let momentum, not motivation, carry you forward. As Seneca observed, while we wait for life, life passes. Whew. The invitation stand. The door to your next evolution isn't locked. It's only heavy. The weight you feel isn't resistance, but the solidity of real transformation. You contain multitudes. The strength to begin again, the wisdom to learn as you go, the resilience to outlast every storm. This isn't about arriving. It's about showing up, not about perfection, but direction. The hour has come to stop preparing to live and simply live. Not tomorrow, now. Your story continues in the next right action. Take it. The silent architecture of resilience beneath every visible breakthrough lies an invisible foundation, countless uncelebrated moments where you chose to continue. This is where true resilience is built, in the quiet spaces between what was and what could be. The Stoics understood that fortitude isn't born in dramatic moments, but in daily practice. Epictetus taught, first say to yourself, what kind of person you want to be, then do what you have to do. Ask yourself, what small, consistent action would build my resilience if I did it daily? How can I honor my progress without waiting for external validation? Where am I stronger today than I was last month? The liberation of limits. We often rage against constraints, not realizing they're the whetstone that sharpens our genius. The very obstacles we resent become the tools of our transformation when we stop resisting them. Marcus Aurelius found power in his paradox. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Practice this mindset shift. 1. Identify a current limit. Ion 2. Ask, how might this constraint actually serve my growth? 3. Reframe it as a focusing mechanism rather than a barrier. The rhythm of return progress isn't linear, it's tidal. There will be days when you feel pulled backward, when old patterns whisper their familiar lies. This isn't failure, it's part of the rhythm. Seneca offered perspective. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Each return to practice after faltering is its own kind of victory. When you stumble, pause and breathe before reacting. Separate the event from your identity. I slipped. Burrs. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. Choose one small action to recommit. The courage of ordinary days. Heroism lives in showing up when the work feels insignificant. No one is watching. Results aren't immediate. This is where character is forged, not in the spotlight, but in the steadfast commitment to daily practice. Build your staying power. Track small wins to make progress visible. Create simple rituals that anchor your practice. Remember, discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. The final truth, you already contain everything you need to begin again. Not when you're ready, not when conditions are perfect. Now. The Stoics weren't extraordinary because they never failed. They were extraordinary because they kept rising, and so are you. This isn't about reaching some final destination. It's about the dignity of continuing, the honor of persisting, the quiet glory of showing up for your own becoming. The next step isn't waiting for you in some distant future. It's right here. Take it. The alchemy of perseverance. True transformation occurs not in the blaze of inspiration, but in the quiet embers of daily commitment. What appears as ordinary repetition to the outside world is actually the sacred forge where character is tempered. Marcus Aurelius recorded this truth in his private journal. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, because an artful life requires being prepared to meet and withstand sudden and unexpected attacks. Consider this. Your most powerful breakthroughs will come disguised as ordinary Tuesdays. The discipline you cultivate today becomes your superpower tomorrow. What feels like grinding now will feel like grace later. The paradox of presence. We exhaust ourselves chasing distant horizons while missing the ground beneath our feet. Yet the Stoics understood that true power comes from complete engagement with the present moment. Epictetus offered this liberating perspective. Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish, but wish for everything to happen as it does, and your life will go well. Practice this shift. 1. When resisting the present, ask, what if this moment is exactly where I need to be? 2. Look for the hidden opportunity in your current circumstances. 3. Redirect energy from complaining to creating. The courage of small revolutions lasting. Change happens through micro revolutions, tiny rebellions against our own limitation. Choosing one healthy meal over convenience, writing one paragraph instead of waiting for inspiration, taking one deep breath before reacting. Seneca observed, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Each small victory plants the seed for the next. Your toolkit for daily revolution. The 2-minute rule, just start. The more principle, do slightly more than minimum. The identity shift. I am someone who. The liberation of enough in a world screaming more. The Stoic practice of contentment becomes radical. Not complacency, but the profound understanding that you already contain everything needed for your journey. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Reclaim your freedom. Release comparison. Your path is uniquely yours. Practice gratitude for what's already present. Measure progress by your own standards. The invitation remains. This is your life, not a perfected version of you. The world doesn't need a perfected version of you. It needs the real you, engaged and alive. The Stoics weren't mythical figures. They were ordinary people who chose extraordinary presence. And so can you. Your next moment awaits, not with fanfare, but with quiet potential. Will you meet it with open hands? The choice is always yours. Make it count. The final stone. Every great cathedral was built one stone at a time. Your life is no different. What feels like an ordinary moment today becomes the foundation of your legacy tomorrow. The Stoics left us with this time as truth. We rise, not by extraordinary means, but by ordinary means, practiced extraordinarily well. This is your quiet epiphany. You need no permission to begin. You require no special conditions to continue. You'll find no perfect moment, only this one. The story continues where you stand, not with grand gestures, but with simple, steadfast steps. The stone is in your hands. Place it well.